Many of you, especially those of you who watch the Food Channel, may have heard of Paula Deen, the Southern chef. She was diagnosed with diabetes, and there are four things that happened. One, she received medical care for her diabetes. Two, she doubled up on her veggies and began using healthier cooking methods. Three, she began walking every day. And four, she lost 30 pounds in the process. So why did the diabetes improve? Hmm. Well, it's because she lost weight, of course. How do we know that the weight loss is what improved her diabetes? How do we know it wasn't the eating right and the exercise part? If we're going to look at this particular correlation, we might as well look at this graph here. If obesity is killing us, why is life expectancy on the rise? Of course, there have been many advances in medicine, and that's helped result in increased life expectancy. But this graph suggests that obesity is not the killer that the media suggests. In fact, if you look at BMI and life expectancy, it turns out that the lowest incidence of death is actually in the overweight and obese categories. I'll say that again. The lowest incidence of death is actually in the overweight and obese categories. So as you can tell, weight isn't quite the killer it's been made out to be. However, so many don't realize this and they turn to dieting. It's just part of our culture. There's always great discussion about the cause of the increase of weight in the 80s and the 90s. Now here we are into the 2000s. There's a general consensus that all three of these factors play a role in determining weight: genetics, diseases and drugs, environment. However, since we can't do much about genetics, diseases, and drugs, the finger gets pointed at in the environment, specifically the calories consumed and the calories burned. It's much more complex than that, though. When people go on a diet to try to lose weight, their body actually has physiologic mechanisms to fight back in order to survive what it's perceiving as starvation or famine. So while weight may come off when an individual first starts dieting, weight is almost always regained over time. And I'll say that again, weight is almost always regained over time. This obsession over calories can actually be quite maddening, don't you think? Think about what some of your own experiences have been, either with yourself or with people that you know. Well, here are just a handful of diets. It seems like there's new ones coming out all the time. My goodness. So, in an effort to control calories, what happens? Americans participate in dieting, especially in January, the start of the new year. What are all the diets that you've heard of? These are just some of the popular ones, as mentioned. We've got such a huge dieting industry. It is alive and it is well, and it seems to be benefiting from the emphasis on the obesity epidemic. And now, lately, we have the clean eating kind of thing happening as well. I love this picture. Look, she's got like a pea or something there. So, when we're talking about dieting, we're not just talking about fad diets. As I mentioned, there can be clean eating fads and all sorts of plans out there. Now, the term dieting, what does it really refer to? It refers to any time that an individual watches what they eat to lose weight. Some people even use the term lifestyle changes when they talk about attempting to permanently restrict their calories. Even when the term dieting is replaced with lifestyle changes or clean eating, it still may be dieting. And here, New Oxford American Dictionary, restrict oneself to small amounts or special kinds of food in order to lose weight. So in this presentation, we're using the term dieting when we talk about any person who is trying to lose weight, no matter what the method. Again, no matter what the method. The dieting industry is such a booming business. Americans spend billions and billions, and I'm saying billions of dollars on it every year, especially in the new year. This graph demonstrates a continual increase in the amount of money spent by Americans on dieting each year. And it's interesting to see the dip here in the 2000s. And that, I'm not sure what that's about. That would be something to look into. So do diets work? If diets work, then Americans would be spending less money on dieting over time because it actually would be working. Here's a fantastic video by a very well-known dietitian in the intuitive eating, non-diet approach area named Evelyn Tribole. Please have a look at this. This video explains a lot of the negative side effects of dieting. So in 2012, researchers at UCLA compiled the 20 best and longest weight loss studies. They researched the changes in weight that occurred in these studies. Each of the 20 studies is represented on this graph by an open or closed circle. The closed circle represents studies with a minimal dropout. Participants mostly stayed in the study for a long time. The open circles represent studies with significant dropout. More than 20% of the participants dropped out of the study. The circle size reflects how many subjects were in the study. So small circles mean small sample size, and larger circles mean larger sample size. As you can see from the graph, in the shorter studies that last only 2 or 3 years, the subjects typically lose between 0 and 5 kilograms, that's up to 10 pounds, and the longer the study, the less likely the subjects keep the weight off. You can see the dots on the far right had significant dropout rates, and participants weren't able to keep the weight off after 8 to 10 years. Not only do diets not work, but they also have many harmful side effects. Has anyone heard of that? There are actually many harmful side effects to dieting. As you can see from the slide, dieting can be very hard on our bodies, our minds, and society. Let's look at the ethics of weight-based approach. If dieting doesn't work long term and yo-yo dieting is associated with negative health outcomes, then should we be encouraging people to lose weight? Is it ethical? Pause and think about that. Given the potential psychological and physiological downfalls of weight loss and the fact that diets don't result in long-term weight loss, why do health professionals keep encouraging people to lose weight? Why not focus on health instead? What about people who have the genetic component of weight, that they're just overweight according to the church their whole life, and they're spending their whole life just focusing on their weight and not living life to the fullest? Perhaps the focus is just on the wrong place, the advice from the doctors and society. It's really become apparent that a new approach is needed to promote health and wellness. If we know dieting doesn't work, perhaps non-dieting is the answer. And it doesn't mean just letting it all go. Let's explore this further. The Health at Every Size, also known as HAES movement, is a research-based grassroots movement. It started several decades ago, and it's currently picking up steam with many researching the effects of this approach. It's become very popular. There are a lot of nutritionists and coaches and therapists following this approach. Once again, the HAES paradigm is about taking the focus off of weight and putting the focus on health, overall health. The HAES paradigm is about paying attention to hunger and fullness cues to guide eating. It's about finding pleasure in food. Let's make friends with food again. Let's satisfy our cravings. Trust your body and that it naturally craves a variety of foods. The HAES paradigm is also about movement, not to lose weight, but to engage in physical activity because it feels good, it's fun, and it has many positive benefits. Find work that you love, or find movement that you love that makes you feel vital and alive. Think about that. So, in taking the focus off of the weight, the HAES paradigm involves promoting a positive body image and seeing weight and body shape and sizes as another key component of diversity. And as I said before, it's like body height, your skin color, your hair color, and so on and so forth. HAES is a weight neutral approach. It's not that weight loss is bad or good, it's simply a side effect of developing a healthy relationship with food, with activity, and a healthy body image. This is a picture of the Yay scale. Have a look. Beautiful, cute, adorable. Fill it in with whatever you like. You can go ahead and do that. The Yay scale was actually developed by Marilyn Wan. You can find the scale on the internet, hopefully still available. Instead of numbers, the Yay scale has positive adjectives, descriptors. For many, stepping on a traditional scale is anxiety producing, but not this Yay scale. According to the Yay scale, you're beautiful no matter what. That's right. And according to the HAES paradigm, we need to question society cues that tell us beauty and health are a certain size and instead celebrate all bodies. How does non-dieting differ from dieting? We'll explore that. Moving ahead. Non-dieting and dieting, they're actually polar opposites. This slide outlines the differences in the approach, as you can see, towards weight, food, and physical activity. Each of the factors will be discussed in more details in some other classes that I'll be offering. So as we can see here, we've got weight, food, and physical activity. The diet paradigm, aim for a certain weight. Non-diet paradigm, body will seek its natural weight when individuals eat in response to cues. Food, in the diet paradigm, it's good, it's bad, legal, illegal, should, shouldn't, fill in that descriptor there. It looks at quantity, quality, determined by the external source. So we're looking at calories, grams, exchanges. Some people count fat, some people count sugar, etc., etc. The non-diet paradigm, all food is acceptable. The quality and quantity are determined by responding to physical cues, hunger, fullness, taste, etc. Physical activity. So in the diet paradigm, you're exercising to lose weight and going to the gym and beating yourself up, trying to do whatever it takes. But with the non-diet paradigm, we want to look at activities that are fun and enjoyable and maybe getting out of a rut, finding something that we love doing now, not that we did with the body we had 15 years ago.